Okay.
Hello, hi guys, hi everyone. How are you all doing? Hi Nupur, hello Princess Padmaja.
Uh,
We have a very interesting discussion lined up for today, and I hope a lot of you can join in, ask your questions because we have a very special guest with us, and I'll go ahead and introduce her in a bit. But before that, welcome to everyone from everyone in our audience who's joining us on a Sunday afternoon. And as always, we'll be discussing something unique and some fun experiences. Um, so let us know where you are joining us from. आप कहाँ से join कर रहे हैं हमें और आपका आज का Sunday कैसा जा रहा है आप weekend को क्या कर रहे हैं um, and I'm Snehal, जिसको मेरा नाम नहीं पता है. I've been living with type 1 for the last 23 years and I have with me Nupur. She's been living with diabetes I think for past 28, 29 years, and we also have Princess Padmaja. And she will definitely get through her diagnosis stories and we'll have a fun chit chat with her as well. But let us know in the comments what you're doing, how your weekend has been, and while we'll start in a minute or so, waiting for a few more of you to join us in. Let us know if you're having your tea, coffee, or you just had a late lunch, or how's your Sunday going. We are excited to chit chat with you. And I think we'll start with the introduction of a very special guest. She's been associated with the Blue Circle Diabetes Foundation since the past couple of years. She has been very supportive of all the advocacy work that we do. And we have with us Princess Padmaja Kumari Parmar from the House of Mewar, the former royal house in Udaipur, Rajasthan. There's a lot that she does. Whatever I say will be very little. What connects her with all of us in our diabetes community is that she was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes when she was a child. And today she's an advocate for diabetes herself and she promotes and talks about diabetes wherever she goes. She's also the founder of Friends of Mewar, a non-profit organization that focuses to preserve cultural heritage, provide preventive health care, and promote women's empowerment and education. And I know she's very passionate about women's empowerment and education, and she works closely at grassroots levels to serve the society at large. So, welcome, Princess Padmaja. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Snehal and Nupur, for having me here. It's always such a delight to be around both of you, and really my pleasure to be part of any conversations that the two of you initiate.
Thank you. We are from the entire community here at Blue Circle Diabetes Foundation. We are very grateful to you for always being an advocate and being the voice of people who are living with diabetes and bringing our voices at the forefront. So I think we'll jump right into the first question. I mean, we have previously talked a lot with Princess about her diagnosis stories, but every a few months we have a lot more new people who are connecting with us at Blue Circle. So once again, Princess Padmaja, if you can share what was your diagnosis story when you were diagnosed and how it went about.
Sure, and I feel that every time I do get this question asked, I learn something new about myself and about my diagnosis. So this question never gets old for me. I was diagnosed back in 1985 when I was 5 years old, as Nehal mentioned. So now I've had it for about 40 years, over 40 years. I've lived with type 1 diabetes. I remember, I mean, as far as specifics are concerned, I remember a few specifics really well. One of them being going to the clinic with my mother in Udaipur, which is where we're from, and taking my first shot. But like a typical 5 year old, um, I was just so excited about showing off and how strong I am that taking the shot was not dramatic. And I consider myself very lucky. I know at different ages, or maybe even at 5, it can be, but I was so caught up in my age that it didn't come off like that to me. And once you take your first shot and you roll up your sleeves, which is what I did, then there was no going back for me. Then the second time around, I couldn't be nervous about it. Right now, I'd already showed my mother and my doctor that I was strong and it didn't hurt. So at least that initial shot and the stigma around taking shots that I know we all have heard so much about. In many ways, I feel I was fortunate. I didn't. My environment was such that I didn't feel overly pressurized by it, and then as time went along, I realized it was a small needle, and it of course made me feel well taking the insulin. So it was directly proportionate for me wanting to take my shots on time, and because I felt well, right? So. And I share this little anecdote mainly for maybe mothers or caregivers of those who are newly diagnosed, right? For you to know that if it is an initial struggle, it will pass, because if you're dealing with a child, he or she will realize soon enough. He will realize soon enough that taking the shot actually makes him or her feel better. So if you're struggling with that, just have hope and know that that'll pass. And for those of us lucky ones who were okay with taking the shot, life goes on, and we realize how important it is for us to take our insulin.
Absolutely. And I know I can speak on behalf of Nupur as well. I think me and Nupur were both kind of into the same category. We wanted to show off that, look, like we are so and be okay with it, because more often than not, I think the children, they are more accepting towards type 1 diabetes. They are okay with the pen or the syringe or the CPF, but the parents take a lot more time to kind of accept the condition.
Right, right. I agree, because I think all of us here, we are just coming off a summit where we were with our other friends who are living with
Actually,
our.
I'm gonna, sorry, Princess, I'm gonna jump straight to one of the, late questions you kept for later, but I think the timing is perfect, since you did mention the summit, I do want to ask, and I know we have people watching, so they're curious as well, and they've seen the photos, we put them out on social media. When before, like it's been 3 years now since the Udaipur Type 1 Diabetes Summit first began, and Snehal and I have had the good fortune of being associated with the summit from the beginning, and we've seen how it's evolved and grown, and it's really been a fantastic journey for us as advocates to be part of the summit. But I want to ask you, what was your thoughts? When there was no summit at the time, what did you think? What is it that you felt missing, or could be done better? And where do you see the summit going in the future?
Nupur, that's a great question. And when I started the summit and I had the honor and the delight of connecting with you and our other peers, I knew I wanted to continue doing this support to help all of us who are living with it, to get our voices out there more. I think what the work you're doing and the other colleagues who are doing, as different as everyone's work is, it's powerful. And what can I do to support that? So that is the motivation for me to want to continue doing this summit year in and year out. And I appreciate the fact that you feel it's evolved, because that was another commitment I'd made to myself, that we can't get stagnant. Sometimes these conferences and summits or gatherings have a tendency of just getting stagnated, and I don't want that, because once we stagnate, we don't grow. Or, in other words, the more we evolve, the more we grow, the more powerful it is. So, yes, for this year's summit, I was very keen that I made it more diverse and very impactful. By diverse, I mean it's important that we have people from different industries outside of us as advocates coming in. I feel it's a condition that requires interdependence for it to penetrate, and amplify, and that I'm committed to. Where do I see it going, Nopur? It's a good question, but I feel that if, especially because I have that tendency to have a lot of structure to things, but in this case, I am working really hard to make sure that I don't overly structure it, because sometimes that's limiting. If I'm going to have this structure, and a lot of people do it and they do it well, and I've done it, and it's at times worked out well on having a very clear, next year, next 5 years, next 10-year plan. But I'm very consciously trying that is not the case. My plan and goal is to continue to have an ongoing conversation with those who are at the summit, so we can land next year where we all feel we ought to land, right? We can have the right people, the right organizations, the right institutions, and hopefully come up with the right policies. That's my thought. I do get asked this question, and my answer hasn't changed a lot. I'm not coming up, I don't want to come up with a 2 point or a 3 bullet point answer. I think the idea is that what type 1 diabetes teaches us, right? We learn to go with the flow, and we stay truthful and honest to ourselves. We make sure that everyone who's coming there's time is respected, um, and we all go back doing whatever we were doing, but just better.
Absolutely.
And that's how I would like to see it, at least for the near term. When there comes a time we need to have more specifics in place, we can look at that collectively. At this point, I feel we're in the evolution phase.
Thank you. That I think that really encompasses the vibe that we felt there in Udaipur, the 3 days that we spent, with me, Kanika, and all of our colleagues. Fantastic feeling, that positivity, that little dose of inspiration that we need once a year, coming together, seeing what everyone's doing, and all of us doing something together better. I'm going to quickly jump into the question that is in the comment box, and then back to you, Snehal. So we have a question from Rajesh, and Rajesh is a type 1 from Rajkot in Gujarat. And his question to you is, what were your thoughts when you were diagnosed? And why he's asking that is because, once you get diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, you also have to take insulin lifelong. So that's quite a heavy sort of burden to carry. So what were your thoughts? I know you mentioned that you were just 5 years old, but maybe at that point or later when you were moving through.
No, I appreciate, Rajesh. I appreciate your question, and like I said, I was 5 years old, but I remember certain specifics really well. Yeah, I was very fortunate to have my mother, who was very positive. I think I've noticed, the more I've spoken to people recently, that the caregivers find it quite challenging, right? And when they do, and even though they want to be positive, it's hard. I again, it was, the Almighty or good luck or whatever you believe in. I fe- I I feel I was lucky because my mother came in with a very positive attitude. So a lot of my thoughts were based out of that. She, even back then in 1985, she would say to me that, listen, you can do anything. And if I wanted to take sweets for my birthday, there was no guilt tripping going on. Now we're talking about all this now in 2025, 40 years later. But I was fortunate that I was given an opportunity to live that, to experience that without the shame. And at that point, my mother nor I had a peer group. So it was a extremely crucial time for me to set these positive thoughts, which could have very easily been negative. So, of course, I'm very grateful to her. And I continue thinking highly of the fact that we have a condition. It's a condition that teaches us responsibility and discipline in a very organic way. It's something I've shared with Nupur and Snehal many times. Um, so I wish to continue, and I would like for you to also at least entertain this perspective. Listen, you have a condition, you feel good, the better you take care of yourself. And there's nothing wrong in taking good care of yourself the best we can. Um, so that's those are my initial thoughts, but I do want to urge everyone. I don't know how many people have logged in, but I do want to urge everyone to have um, a realistic but a positive note. I'm not asking you to think the type 1 is a bed of roses. It's not. I have my challenges too, right? I mean, I had a very high blood sugar yesterday, and it wasn't fun, but I didn't sit around feeling sad for why I had it. I was grateful for the fact that I have the knowledge and the discipline to take care of it.
Correct, absolutely. And I think there's also something to be said about, the tough love that our parents kind of gave us back when we were diagnosed maybe 20, 30, 40 years ago. There was, I mean, don't feel bad for yourself. Come on, let's pick up and keep walking. Let's move on. So I think that is something really, if there's something that people can, learn from each other, I think this would be, something for sure because I see a lot of people, like you mentioned, Padmita, that they just feel really worked up, and that's all right, that's fine.
Exactly.
But then you have to like take stock and be strong for your child and for yourself and keep moving.
No, exactly, Nupur. I feel strongly about that.
Yeah. And what you talked about, Princess, is that self management. Like it's a chronic condition. It's not going anywhere away, and you have to manage it on your own. So I think that acceptance has to come from ourselves. And like you said, it has to be like like a moderation and a balance of everything. Because for me, I think growing up, the hardest part was to say no to food.
Right.
And my relationship with food has always been like up and down, and like I want to eat it, but then I'm like I shouldn't eat it. So that internal fight was a struggle. And when I accepted that it's okay to kind of have a cheat meal once in a while and then have the rest of the meals in a balanced way, I think that helped me emotionally a lot.
Right. Right. And I think moderation, is a word that we use. Moderation is a word we use a lot. But I just want everyone listening today to know that the definition of it varies from person to person. What's moderation for me is not moderation for Nupur or for Snehal or for any of you listening today, right? So let's define what moderation means for us, right? What does that look like for you? Let's not have a thought or an imagination that, oh, this is what moderation is, because if it's not your moderation, it's impossible to sustain it. And that's what I learned. I said, listen, these are my definitions. These are things that work for me. It doesn't matter if it works for someone else or not. If I can understand what works for me, I can better take care of myself. And by others, if I can learn that different things work for different people, then it becomes that much easier for me to understand what that difference within me is, right? Some people will say, oh, you can't eat rice, and some people will say, oh, you can't eat vegetables. And some people will say, oh, you can't eat fruits. And some people will say, oh, you can't eat vegetables.
Probably a little
Just
technical.
But I just
yeah.
you to figure out your what normal and moderation and balance is. Don't take someone else's definition of these aspects.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And I think that has worked very well for me, because the general concept
Do you
with
still hear me,
diabetes is that
guys?
you are not supposed to eat rice. And for me, rice works really well. On the contrary, wheat or, like chapati, it spikes my sugars up. But you said, like, you have to find your own moderation and your own balance. I think that is the key
कहीं रुक
when
सकते
you want to. Yeah. uh yeah, we can hear you, Princess, now. Yeah. Figuring out the technical issues here, so just give us a minute. But in the meantime, if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments and we'll take them.
Yeah, exactly. I was just going to mention that, Snehal. Thanks for that reminder. If you have any questions for Princess Padmaja, please put them into the comment box. And, thanks to those who've already shared their questions. We will continue asking her these questions. But अगर आपको कुछ पूछना है Princess Padmaja से, please comment box में डालें and we will ask her on your behalf. But in the
So one
meanwhile,
more
quick,
question I have on my WhatsApp
yeah.
is, as a woman and living with type 1 diabetes, it has its own set of challenges, right? And so, Princess, what were your thoughts and how did you manage, being a leader and being a woman and living with type 1 diabetes? Any suggestions for our audience?
Uh, yeah, I look at all of these things separately and independently, because you're right, Snail. All of them have their own stories. I mean, whether they're challenges or whatever it may be, it can be. If I put it together, I personally feel for someone like me, it could get very conflicting, and I don't want that. So when I'm thinking of myself as a person, I look at this condition as one part of it. If I look at my gender, I look at it as one part of it. So I don't put a challenge as if it's a challenge on all of it. If I'm having a tough day with my type 1, I deal with that specifically. If I'm having a challenge because of certain issues regarding being a woman or being a mother or what have you, I deal with that specifically. And again, it's another suggestion for those of you. If it works for you, depending what your personality type is, also, I like bite-sized things, so I like to look at issues or challenges in that fashion also. I don't like combining it because it feels very overwhelming. There was definitely a time in my life when I used to, right? I mean, if having an issue with one thing sort of seeped into having type 1, and then it was just harder to manage. But when I first identify, okay, what is this challenge and which department does it come in? Once I've identified that, then I deal with it in that compartmentalized manner, and it's been something that I feel, especially in the last 3-4 years, has worked really well for me.
And do
And
you
it's
think
worked
it's
well for me. And
you mentioned
go
a while
ahead.
earlier that your personality is that you like things structured and you like them, a certain way. And I've seen that. I mean, over the years, we've observed you, and we like that comes through. But do you think that kind of seeps into your diabetes as well? That wanting things to be, like you said, bite-sized problems, and also another question: do you feel like because maybe if you didn't have T1D, you may have had a slightly different personality compared to what you do now. Do you feel like they kind of intermingle a bit?
Sorry, you'll have to repeat that question. It's a very interesting question. I want to make sure I've understood it clearly. If there was, sorry, I'll let you say it.
Yeah, yeah. So you mentioned that you like to structure things, and like whether it's with the summit or it's with other things in life, you like it, properly planned and structured. And even now, when Snehal asked you about this, the gender aspect with diabetes, your preference is to address each of these as bite-sized issues, and that makes it, more doable and easy. So do you feel that you would have had perhaps a different take on things if you didn't have T1? I mean, I'm saying that from my experience of, having T1 has probably made me carry like backups of everything, be really organized. And maybe if I didn't have T1, I'm not sure if I would be the same person. But what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, no, I think a strong part of me feels that way. But, when I've asked myself this question, I don't even know how I would have. And also, maybe because I've had type 1 for I don't know my life before type 1, right? I was 5. So if maybe the structures come because of type 1, but would I have still been this structured? My answer is yes, but that's a subjective answer. I just can't take the structure, the over planning out of me. Sometimes people would hope that I could. Sometimes I would hope I could. But it's just so closely intertwined. And I just don't know if it's a consequence of type 1 or if it's just my good, or if it's just my good old Capricorn traits. I don't know. So that should be a question I should be asking the audience at some point.
Yeah. So I'm also a Capricorn, and I relate to your personality a little bit of like over planning and kind of having everything structured. And Nupu's mother is also Capricorn, and she keeps on telling me like how you two are very similar. So yes, in the comments, let us know who all is Capricorn here. We can sit and discuss
Yeah,
on our
yeah.
show.
Shout out to the Capricornians. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. I've always been curious about different personality types. I almost feel all of us with type 1 have something which is very common between all of us, regardless of where we come from, gender, mindset, education, nothing. None of those matters. But the fact that there is a very organic discipline trait I feel all of us have. And maybe that is a consequence of type 1. But listen, these are good qualities. People of course work very hard to have them. I think we get it a little bit more easily because we're dealing with it all the time.
Absolutely.
Very. So just mindful of time because we want to make sure that we're not sort of overstretching the time bit as well. So perhaps Snehal, what do you think? Should we quickly jump into the rapid fire? That's a fun round, and then we can see if our audience has any more questions that they're leaving in the comment box.
But before we do that, just another fun question. Princess, is there any kind of a type 1 blooper story that you would like to share, that maybe you were at an important event and something funny or like something happened
Whose
regarding to type
story,
1?
Snehal?
Like a blooper story, like something funny that happened, like you were at an important event or you were planning to go somewhere and something type 1 related happened.
Oh gosh, I'm sure every day something like that happens, right? I mean, I was on a live in person panel, um, and of course my type A personality had made sure that I was prepared and rested, and I'd gone over my questions, and there were a couple of questions I was not crazy about, but I'm like, you know what, I'm still going to answer them. So I was in sort of full, type A, type 1 mode. And then I get onto the panel and my sugar drops like over 100. Like it was just, and and initially it felt like scary, and I was like, oh my god, what's just happened? And after all these years, I'm still not up on a panel without my sugar dropping. That was the first thought. And then I turned it around and I thought it was hilarious. It's like having a wardrobe malfunction, right? You walk in somewhere and something happens. And I think we need to learn to have humor in our condition. I was lucky that there was another peer of mine out there, and she 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 could tell. She could tell I was low, and sneaked me a very sweet something. I don't know what it was, but I popped it in my mouth straight away. And I nailed the questions, so it worked out okay. But after the panel, I think that's the part that I want to share over here. It's not necessarily funny, but it was very powerful, and the powerful reminder was, you know, we. We got this, right? We know how to handle it, and it's not just about the sugars, it's just about life. We know how to handle challenges because we deal with them all the time. and if we can learn from it and make sure that we can we can execute them in different situations outside of our sugars, it gives us the confidence to be able to go out there and feel better about ourselves, feel better about our condition, but above all, just be able to deal with life better. So, not exactly a funny story, although I did find it funny later. I'm like, Padmaja, what were you thinking? You didn't have something. I didn't have anything on me. I'm lucky that someone in the audience who knew me had something. So, not, I don't know if it's funny or not, but I thought it was interesting. And I felt good after I reflected on it later. So, for those of you who've had challenges, be proud of the fact that you've dealt with them, and don't let that get you down.
Yeah, true. And even I, like every time I have a low or a high, and I'm like, I've been living with it for 23 years. How come it's new every single time? And it's always been a learning journey throughout.
Yeah, no, I agree with you.
And I think we'll jump into the rapid fire round. And Nupur, we can just quickly check if we have any questions from the audience. So, Princess, will go ahead with the rapid fire round. You don't have much time to think. So, we'll get started.
Oh boy.
Tell us one fun fact about yourself.
I don't get jet lagged.
Wow.
Wow.
I think that also
Yeah.
answers our second question. What's the one superpower you already have actually? So this is really
Oh boy, yeah. Can I combine the two?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. That's fantastic. Okay, tea or coffee?
Oh my God, both. I love my cappuccinos and I love my adrak chai. So I was definitely a chai person growing up, but now I've been inserted into the coffee as well, and I think that's because of my husband. But so both.
Amazing.
Your favorite cartoon character?
Sorry.
Your favorite cartoon character?
Well, now I have to say Barbie, but it's Spider-Man. Well, Barbie's not cartoon in that sense. So I guess Spider-Man. Grew up watching a lot of Spider-Man, and I loved it. So yeah.
Amazing. What's your favorite food?
Indian. I love all types of food. I don't think there's any food that I don't like. But if you were to wake me up at 3 in the morning and say, okay, we'll go get some Indian food, I'll get up.
What's your favorite carb?
Favorite what?
Carbohydrate, like pasta or bread or chapati or rice.
Sorry, it's terrible that in the rapid fire I'm having trouble hearing because it sort of defeats the purpose. So I'm really sorry. But what was the last question? What's my favorite what?
Carbohydrate. Carbs that you have from food?
Oh God, I have a long list. But I guess rice would be one. Rice. Let's just go with rice. I have a few.
Okay, another one that I'm sure a lot of people are, waiting to listen to. What's your favorite emoji?
Something to do with a heart. So sometimes it's just the good old, red or the blue heart, and sometimes now there've been these new emojis that have other variations, but it has to have a heart somewhere in it. I love those.
Love it. The world needs more of hearts and love. So totally love that thought.
Yes, I agree. No, I love them, and so it's that's definitely my favorite emoji. What about you? What about both of you? What are your favorite emojis?
I think I like the blue heart because diabetes. And then I also like, now that we're in the monsoon, the little umbrella.
Oh yeah,
I've been using
oh
that a
yeah.
lot.
I like the dancing one, the girl in the red dress and then she's kind of dancing.
Oh yeah, yeah, I like that too. I need to start using that more. I'll use it with you, Snail.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Cats or dogs?
Definitely dogs by a long shot.
All right. So I think we've asked Princess Padmaja a lot of fun questions. And before we wrap up, we want to ask you one last thing. What's your one piece of advice for people that live with T1D and their families?
It's just your perspective on this condition. It's I understand it's hard, and I've lived with it, and I know that. But don't let that be the center of your story. Um, it can be a part of your story, but just look at different perspectives, and find something that's truly encouraging and empowering. I've had the privilege of living with this condition for 40 years, and I think that's been my central focus. It's my mother's positive words of knowing that I can do anything. And so I would encourage all of you to find that song in your heart when it comes to this condition.
Thank you so much. I think that leaves all of us with a lot of, hope and motivation for the future, and especially those that are newly diagnosed. Sometimes it seems so overwhelming, and I think when they see you and they see, people that have had T1D for a long time, even Snail and I have had it for many years now. I think parents especially look at us and feel like, okay, if these guys can make it, if they can do it, live a happy life, a normal life, so can my child. So, really appreciate your time, Princess Pavita. I know you've been traveling, it's been quite a busy time for you. So, big thank you from all of us. It's been fantastic chatting. And Okay, I see another comment by Akanksha actually. She's a mom to a newly diagnosed T1 child, and she says, very well said. It's not entirely your story, but T1D is a part of your story. She completely agrees with what you've mentioned. And then we also have Apurva who's quickly commenting. I know Apurva has been diagnosed with SADA or type 1.5 diabetes much later in life. And so, even he's found this conversation quite helpful and insightful. So, thank you once again, Princess Pavita, and stay tuned, everyone, for all our upcoming workshops and updates.
Thank you both of you for having me, and congratulations for all the work you're doing.
Thank you so
Thank you so
much.
much.
Safe travels. See you.
Safe
Yes,
travels.
you
Bye
also.
bye.
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 Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.